picked up some plywood to put on the floor today, and I went with these 4x4 sheets. I'll show you why I did that. I think I might have got enough to do most of it, if not all of it, but I did that because you've got to do all these little cuts around all the little bumps in the walls, and you know, stuff like notching around this door latch. But here's the deal. My boards are in here straight. I have a smaller board here than here, but my boards are straight, but the bus is off. So I've had to, you can see where I've marked my line, I'm gonna have to cut in order to get this to straddle my boards half and half, you know, one for each side. This whole bus is just not straight. Like, the way the walls cut in and stuff, it's not square. So maybe this is a better angle, but since the bus isn't square, I think this is the way to go, doing the smaller sheets. Because if I did a big sheet, I don't know how I would ever get it cut square. So that's why I did all these smaller sheets. I hope it works. Well, I'm going to make it work. So a little update. I got this one in the corner here done. I started working on this one actually, and there's so many little cuts to be made around these cables, and the back wall is like real uneven, so having to cut all around that to make it work. What I was doing is drawing my line, walking outside, cutting it, putting it back inside. Nope, make another line, take it outside, cut it. And it seemed like I was wasting so much time doing that now I started working on this piece and this piece, and what I'm doing is marking this one, marking that one, marking this one, taking all three outside, cutting all three pieces, hauling all three pieces back inside, and it seems like that's going a lot better. So I should have done that to begin with, because I end up with a bunch of little cuts like that need to be taken out, and it's just ridiculous. I keep going in and out, in and out. So I feel like we're moving someplace now, but you know, you get a lot of weird cuts like that. But another thing is, I've been using this little stairwell thing as my little trash bin, so don't judge me on that. But another thing that's kind of weird is it's just not an uneven measurement from front to back. So this one, I had to either bring this piece all the way out to the end and have a big gap over there, do it halfway, have a little gap, or go all the way to where this line is at, and then that would fill my gap. But I would have to put a little sliver over on this side, and instead of having a little sliver over there where you're coming in and out, I figure it's better to have a little sliver here. So I'm going to put a little piece in there to fill that gap. Of course, this will go all the way to the wall. But that means when I get to this stairwell part, now I'm going to have one solid piece that goes all the way around the whole thing. So I think that'll be a better bet. It was getting late and I didn't want to run the saw all night, so I called it quits. But today's Labor Day, I'm off work, and I'm going to work all day on the bus instead of going to work. So this piece and this piece are ready to be screwed down, but I still haven't done any liquid nails on the foam pieces to stick them to the floor, which I want to do so they don't squeak. I heard that was an issue with other people, and I don't want to do this again, so I'd rather do it right now. But the problem is, I was going to get all these pieces laid in place, liquid nail the foam and then liquid nail all the boards and then screw everything down. Problem is, now these two boards are moving while I'm trying to put this board in, and I know it's going to be the same way on the other side, so I'm going to go ahead and pull all the boards out, liquid nail all the foam, and then I'm going to put this piece and this piece permanently in. That way they won't move, so I can get this piece and this piece done, and then I'll liquid nail them and screw them in too. So I'll do like a little time lapse thing, see what happens. When I bought my foam, I bought 3 tubes of liquid nails, and I thought, oh, that'll be enough to do all of it. But I thought, man, I don't want to, use it and then have a full tube that I'm not using, or get partway through a tube and waste it. So I thought, man, I'll just wait until I do the floor. That way I'll do it all at once. I won't waste anything. And I was way off. One tube did this first little section across here. So that means I'm going to use a lot of tubes to do just the foam, and then I still got to put the floor on, and I'll liquid nail the floor to the beams and then screw it in. That way it won't ever, hopefully, squeak or anything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna make a few more trips to Lowe's. Out of my 3 tubes, I did all of this row, all of this row, all of this row, and everything from the middle over without doing the front, just the back. But so I have everything from this beam along this beam over to this side, and then the very front. So I think probably 5 more tubes should do it, so 8 tubes altogether. I think that'll be enough for me to finish what I got here. I think I'll use a tube and a half or 2 doing this and the very front, and then the rest I'll put on all these beams that I'm gonna screw the wood to. If you hear something running in the background, it's hot outside and I'm cheating. So just have that hooked up to the house, and I kind of made myself a little barrier so it kind of blows the air. Oh, it just kicked off. But it blows the cold air back here. Works for now. Another person had asked a couple questions on a group I'm on Facebook, and a couple of the guys on there were talking about why I use so much wood. The reason I use so much wood, in this bus, a lot of people do squares like this, maybe even bigger than that. I did obviously more than that. I did that because my bus floor underneath this has a lot of waves in it and some spots that I think are kind of weak. Not very big spots, but I mentioned that in there too, and somebody said something about, well, if you have weak spots, you need to change your whole floor. And I thought, you know, if this bus is already 20 years old at this point, it'll be another 20 years at least before that becomes a big enough issue for me to have to worry about it. And the bus probably, it'll have more issues than the floor at that point. So I'm not worried about it. I think with doing this much wood, it'll give me a strong enough base that this will outlive the life of the bus. And that's all you can really hope for. Some of these people, you know, they make these things to live in, and this is their home. This isn't my home. This is a camper van. It's something for me to take to the lake, take into the mountains if I want to go for a week or something. But this thing won't get used but a handful of times in a year. So for me, this is what I feel like is the best way to go, and that's what I did. I heard a guy say once, I wish I remembered his account name on YouTube, but I heard a guy on there say, you know, there's not a right or wrong way to build a bus as long as it's what works for you. And I believe that 120%. So anyway, this is what we're going with. If I think of anything else, I'll let you know. Okay, I'm about to put in my first piece of plywood for the floor. And I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but I don't know how. So I'm doing it this way because I think it's easy. And I think it'll work. So I'll show you what I'm doing. Well, I forgot to start my time lapse I was going to do. But I'll show you what I've got going on. So there's where I've smeared all my liquid nails on my beams. I've just got to make sure that my door latch lines up. That's kind of my reference point over here. And then as long as it's up against the wall over here, that's just kind of my two reference points. But so now I'm going to go through and do all my screws into the beams, and I guess I can't hold the phone and record. I don't have a fancy tripod or anything like that, so I'll have to find a place to set the phone so I can do that.